In 2026, retiring in the wrong town could quietly drain your savings, while the right one could buy you an extra decade of freedom. Yeah, same country, completely different outcomes. Everyone thinks they know the best retirement spots. Florida, Arizona, the usual suspects. But those places got crowded, expensive, and a little predictable. What nobody tells you is the smartest retirees. They're not following the map anymore. They're rewriting it. This isn't surface-level top 10 beach towns nonsense. This is where strategy meets lifestyle. Towns with lower costs, but also better healthcare access, tax advantages, and something most lists ignore, long-term livability. Places where your money stretches, but your life doesn't shrink. And here's where it gets interesting. There's one town where home prices dropped, but demand quietly doubled. Another where retirees are moving in because of the weather, not despite it. Yeah, that one surprised me, too. Think you know the best places to retire? Let's find out. Because choosing wrong doesn't just cost you money, it costs you options. And trust me, you're not ready for what's sitting at number 1. Subscribe, because this might be the most expensive decision you accidentally get right. Let's break it down. Chapter 2:12. Johnstown, Pier number 12. Johnstown, a 3-bedroom house for under $120,000, not a typo. Not haunted. Well, probably not. Welcome to Johnstown. Here's what nobody tells you is happening. Johnstown's population dropped from over 60,000 to under 20,000 over decades. Sounds bad until you realize the infrastructure didn't shrink with it. You're getting roads, hospitals, and utilities built for 3 times the people. Median home price, roughly $100,000 to $130,000. Cost of living, about 25 to 30% below the national average. Property taxes are manageable. Healthcare access comes through systems like Conmore Health System. But then there's the downside. Crime is slightly above average in some pockets. And the job market, let's just say you're not moving here for your career comeback tour, and here's the twist. Retirees don't care. A local Reddit user put it perfectly. It's not exciting, but my bills don't scare me anymore. Honestly, that might be the most underrated luxury in America. What you gain here is financial breathing room. What you trade? Buzz. Prestige. Maybe a few trendy brunch spots charging $18 for eggs with emotional trauma. And can we talk about the hills? Johnstown didn't believe in flatland. You'll park your car, walk 10 feet, and suddenly you're doing a full cardio session. Who designed this? Goats. Great for your health. Terrible for your knees. Now imagine this. You wake up on a quiet street. Mountains in the distance. No financial anxiety screaming at you before coffee. It's calm. Almost suspiciously calm. But then that calm starts to feel like control. And if you think stretching your dollar here is impressive, the next town figured out how to do it without sacrificing sunshine. Chapter 3:11. Pahrump, NV. Number 11, Pahrump. You can live in Nevada, pay 0 state income tax, be an hour from Las Vegas, and still afford a house. Yeah, that's the loophole. Here's what's really going on. Pahrump sits about 60 miles west of Las Vegas, which means you get proximity without the chaos tax. Median home prices are around $300,000 or less. Cost of living is roughly 10 to 15% below the national average. Crime is lower than Las Vegas, but not exactly leave your door open energy. Healthcare is limited locally, but most residents use Las Vegas medical systems. But what nobody tells you is this place runs on intentional isolation. No big city noise, no endless traffic. Just spaced at a lot of space, and that's the twist. Retirees aren't avoiding the desert, they're choosing it. Because you can drive into Vegas when you want action and leave when it gets stupid. You gain control here, financially and mentally. Lower taxes. Lower costs, fewer daily annoyances, but you give up convenience, spontaneity, and, yeah, a bit of civilization. Though it's not for everyone, that's why it still works. Pahrump is basically Vegas on airplane mode, and let's talk about the desert heat. People say it's a dry heat. Yeah, so is an oven. Step outside in July and suddenly you're questioning your entire retirement plan while your steering wheel tries to brand your hand like livestock. You don't walk anywhere here. You migrate between air conditioning units like it's a survival strategy. Be honest. Could you live an hour from Vegas without going? Every weekend? Yes or no? Chapter 4:10. Aiken, SC number 10. Aiken. There's a town in South Carolina where millionaires ride horses past $300,000 homes, and somehow nobody's talking about it. Yeah, that's not normal, that's Aiken. Here's the part that doesn't make sense until it does. Aiken has a cost of living about 10 to 12% below the national average, but it attracts serious money through its equestrian scene and seasonal residents. Median home prices run around $280,000 to $320,000. Crime is lower than many similar-sized southern towns, especially in core residential areas. Healthcare is solid through Aiken Regional Medical Centers, but what nobody tells you is this place runs on quiet wealth. Old money, seasonal money, horse money. Pick your category. Tea doesn't flash, tea just stays. A local once said, Aiken is where people go to slow down without stepping down. That's suspiciously accurate. You're not just buying affordability, you're buying stability. The kind where property values don't spike like crypto, but they also don't collapse like your New Year's resolutions. The trade-off, it's calm. Almost too calmed. If your idea of excitement is nightlife, this place will gently judge you. Aiken is what happens when money decides to relax but still dress well. And let's talk about the horses. I did not expect traffic caused by horses that you'll be driving, minding your business, and suddenly, boom. Equestrian parade like it's 1890. And you can't even be mad because the horse looks more put together than you. Great. Even the animals here have better posture and financial planning. Now imagine this. You're walking under those massive oak trees. Quiet streets. Everything slow, but not stagnant. There's money here, but it whispers, and weirdly, that makes it feel safer. But then that same quiet. It's why people are finding it late. Chapter 5. 9. Harrisonburg, ver number 9, Harrisonburg. Most retirement towns are slowly dying. This one refuses to age. That's either genius or suspicious. Welcome to Harrisonburg. Here's the twist nobody explains properly. Harrisonburg isn't just a small town, it's anchored by James Madison University, which means a constant influx of students, jobs, and energy. Translation? The town keeps refreshing itself. Now the numbers. Cost of living sits about 8 to 10% below the national average. Median home prices run around $320,000 to $360,000, not dirt cheap, but stable. Unemployment typically stays below the national average thanks to education, healthcare, and agriculture. Crime is lower than many cities its size, especially in residential zones. Healthcare access is strong through regional systems like Centara RMH Medical Center. But what nobody tells you is the real asset. Here isn't priced, it's balanced. You've got retirees, students, families, professionals, all in one ecosystem that doesn't collapse when one group leaves. That's rare. Living here means you don't feel retired in the traditional sense, you're still around movement, ideas, noise, life. But the trade-off? You're sharing your peaceful morning coffee with a 21-year-old discovering espresso and bad decisions at the same time. Harrisonburg is retirement, but with background music, and let's talk about college town traffic. Nobody knows where they're going, but they're all in a hurry to get there. You've got bikes, scooters, cars, and someone jogging like they're training for the Olympics all at the same intersection. It's not traffic. It's a live-action puzzle, and somehow you're always the piece that doesn't fit. Be honest. Would you rather retire somewhere peaceful, or somewhere that actually keeps you awake? Yes or no? Chapter 6, 8. Hot Springs, number 8. Hot Springs. There's a town where people have been coming for healing since the 1800s, and somehow it's still cheaper than your average suburb. Yeah. Hot Springs is either a glitch or a cheat code on the surface. Hot Springs looks like a tourist town built around Hot Springs National Park. Thermal waters, historic bathhouses, mountain views, relaxing, scenic, predictable, but then you look closer. Cost of living is about 15 to 18% below the national average. Median home prices are roughly $220,000 to $260,000. Healthcare is solid through St. Vincent Hot Springs. Crime is slightly above average in certain areas, but it varies heavily by neighborhood. The tourism economy is strong enough to keep things alive, but not strong enough to price everyone out. And here's the part nobody tells you is real. This town was literally designed around wellness. Not trends. Not influencers. Actual geological. The Earth is doing something helpful. Wellness, so retirees aren't just moving here for cost, they're moving here for maintenance. Living here feels different, slower, but but intentional. You're not just saving money, you're investing in how you feel every day. But the trade-off, it's a tourist town, which means weekends get weird. Quiet Tuesday morning? Perfect. Saturday afternoon. Suddenly you're surrounded by people wearing matching vacation shirts asking where the healing vibes are located. Hot Springs is the only place where your retirement plan includes soaking as a financial strategy. And can we talk about humidity? Because Arkansas didn't just add moisture, they committed to it. You step outside and it feels like the air is hugging you aggressively. Not a gentle hug, a full-on you're not going anywhere situation. Your hair gone, your plans also gone. You're now part of the atmosphere. Unlike those Johnstown hills trying to destroy your knees, this place is at least pretending to help you live longer. Quick reality check. People pay thousands for wellness retreats here. Residents just call it Tuesday. And if you think natural healing is a flex, the next town took a completely different route. IT protects your future without anyone noticing. Chapter 7. Alamordo, NM number 7, Alamoggiordo. In a world where climate disasters are getting louder every year, this town is quietly doing nothing. No floods, no hurricanes, no chaos. Just existing. That's Alamordo, and weirdly, that's the advantage. Here's what's actually happening under the radar. Alamordo sits next to White Sands National Park, which means stunning views, but more importantly, geographic stability. Cost of living is around 12 to 15% below the national average. Median home prices are roughly $200,000 to $240,000. Crime is lower than many comparable small cities. The job market is limited but anchored by the nearby military presence and tourism. Healthcare is decent through Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center. But what nobody tells you is this place wins by not being dramatic. No extreme weather swings, no constant rebuilding, no insurance nightmares. It's boring. And that's exactly why it works. Living here means fewer surprises financially and physically. Your bills stay predictable. Your environment stays consistent. But the trade-off, you're giving up variety. Big city energy. That feeling something exciting might happen tonight. Because here, it probably won't. Alamordo is what happens when chaos gets tired and retires first. And let's talk about the wind. Nobody warns you about desert wind. IT doesn't knock politely. IT shows up like it owns the place. You'll clean your car, and 5 minutes later it looks like it's been through a low-budget sandstorm movie. You're not maintaining anything here. You're negotiating with dust. Now imagine this. You step outside early in the morning. Dry air, quiet streets. Mountains in the distance, no humidity, no noise, no urgency. Just space, and time moving slower than you're used to. After a while, that lack of chaos starts to feel like control. Chapter 8. Dubuque, I number 6, Dubuque. Waterfront living for the price of a regular town. Yeah, either that's a mistake, or Dubuque is playing a completely different game. Here's what's quietly happening. Dubuque sits right on the Mississippi River, which usually means expensive views, high demand, and people pretending they like kayaking more than they do. But then the numbers don't match the location. Cost of living is about 12 to 15% below the national average. Median home prices are roughly $230,000 to $260,000. Crime is lower than many comparable small cities, especially in residential areas. Unemployment typically stays below the national average thanks to healthcare, manufacturing,